I was about 8 years old when this happened. Back then, my parents and I lived in a small rental house in a quiet village. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other and life felt simple. But there's one memory from that house that still haunts me to this day. It was a weekend morning. My father usually worked in the city during the weekdays and came home around 7 p.m. But since it was the weekend, he didn't have to leave for work. I didn't have school either, so I slept in until about 8 a.m. That morning, I suddenly woke up to the faint sound of clattering dishes coming from the kitchen, which was right next to my bedroom. At first, I thought nothing of it. It was probably my mom making breakfast. I rubbed my eyes, got out of bed, and slowly walked toward the kitchen. When I peeked in, I saw my mother standing at the stove, stirring something in a pot. It looked like she was making soup. She noticed me and smiled. "Oh, you're awake. Are you hungry?" she asked. I nodded, and she said, "I'll make some soup for you." It all felt completely normal. I left the kitchen and started looking around the house, wondering where my dad was. Then, I heard his voice outside the front door. Curious, I went over, pulled the curtain aside, and looked out the window. My stomach dropped. Outside, standing in the yard, was my father talking to my mother. My real mother. My chest tightened, and my heart started pounding harder than it ever had before. My eyes started to water, and I froze in place, terrified. I couldn't make sense of it. My mom was in the kitchen, but at the same time, she was outside with my dad. I panicked and started crying uncontrollably. My parents noticed me through the doorway and rushed inside, asking what was wrong. Through my tears, I pointed toward the kitchen. They both turned their heads to look. The kitchen was empty. My mom crouched down beside me and said gently, "What's wrong? What did you see?" Shaking, I told her exactly what I saw her inside the kitchen, making soup, asking me if I was hungry. For a moment, both my parents just looked at each other silently. I could see the uneasiness in their expressions. Then my mother said, "Sweetie, you must have been dreaming. I was outside with your father the whole time." But I knew what I saw. I was wide awake. I talked to her, or something that looked exactly like her. After that day, I refused to go into the kitchen alone. I wouldn't even look toward it if the lights were off. Something about it terrified me, and my parents noticed. I couldn't hide my fear. Within a week, they made the decision to move out of that house. They told me it was just a dream, that I had nothing to be afraid of. But deep down, I knew the truth. Whatever I saw in that kitchen, it wasn't a dream. It wasn't my imagination. I spoke to something that looked exactly like my mother. And the scariest part is, I'll never know what it really was.